All right, Slappers, today is a very special one. He is the official highest jumper on the planet. He does the rising and the falling better than anyone I've ever met, and I've met multiple people. He is the co-founder of THP Strength, a company that's helped hundreds to thousands of athletes all ages jump higher than their subordinates. His name is Isaiah Rivera, and he is a professional dunker. This is one of those episodes that I get very excited about, so thank you to Isaiah in advance for showing up today. He did not have to, but he did. Enjoy the scheduled programming.
What up, Mo? Yeah, we what up, Mo? Slap 'em up. Yeah, we slap 'em. Yeah, we slap 'em. Yeah, we slap 'em. We slap 'em. Yeah.
Greetings.
Hello, hello.
How are you doing, astute gentleman?
Doing swell.
Doing swell. You just got back from All-Star, NBA
Yup.
All-Star.
Yup.
You got invited out there. How was that?
Crazy experience. This was my third year doing it, and it was by far the most wild year yet.
Third year doing it.
Yeah. Basically, if you're a big name in the basketball space, you're most likely gonna be at All-Star, whether it's you're flying yourself out to link up with everybody or whether it's a brand paying you to be out there. The reason I was there this year is one, I was doing an event for Google Pixel, so that was like my normal. That's the one I've been doing all 3 years I've done it. But the really cool one was I got to coach the 4 guys that were in the NBA dunk contest, help them do their dunks and stuff like that. I got flown out by Chuck from Team Flight Brothers, and yeah, surreal experience.
That is surreal. And Mac McClung, the three-peat champion of the dunk competition.
Yep.
Shouted you out for letting you let him borrow your car.
Chuck from TFB, he literally called me one day and he was like, "Hey, can you help out with Mac? Like, can you help him get ready for the All-Star contest?" And I said, yeah. And there was one night where, he alluded to that he wanted to jump over a car. And I had jumped over a car in 2020, same exact dunk he did, reverse over the middle of a car with a sunroof. Mm-hmm. So that's why he wanted me to help him. And then he literally texted me one night. He was like, sent me an address and a time. And that was it. And he called me and he asked, he was like, "What car do you drive?" And that's actually my wife's car, the Subaru WRX.
She's got a kicking car, man. It's matte black or something too.
Yeah,
that's a nice car.
Yeah, it's freaking modded to the moon. We're both like car people, so yeah.
Car people. I usually say car geeks. Is that okay to say? Can I call you?
Yeah.
Can I call you that? Okay.
Of course. But yeah, we went out to this random basketball court. It was like a warehouse type thing at like 9 p.m. on a Tuesday night. And I walk in. I probably get there like 2 minutes before they do. Mac's already jumping. Like, he had the guy on the ladder and another guy holding the ball like that.
Yeah.
And that was like his second jump of the day. He's already freaking max jumping. And then 5 minutes in, he's like, "Let's get it over with." I was thinking I was gonna, because my plan was like, all right, let's find something that's the dimensions of the car. We'll get him comfortable going over that, like that, whatever that thing is, like maybe like hold like brooms or something, have him go over it. But he was like, "Nah, I need to get this over with. Like, I'm so scared." Like,
dude, if I could jump as high as you and Mac, I feel like I would just look at a car in a parking lot and just jump over it, like something like that. Or like a police car. It's just like, I really want to jump over it.
See, when I was younger, I used to feel like that, and I would jump over things, try to touch things, but the way my knees are set up now.
Right. You save it for the important days.
The analogy I like to give is like, a Honda Civic, you can drive it around all day.
Yep.
But when you get a Formula One car or a really tuned race car, like, you have to be really careful. You have to warm it up and do a lot of maintenance on it.
I said something on accident one time, but it was really good. I said, be slow most of the time so you can be super fast sometimes. I've quoted myself 100 times. I was like, wow,
yeah,
I should write a book.
Yeah.
Or would you write a book?
It's a big goal of mine, and I might be working on something. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. That's all I'm gonna say. But it's definitely a huge goal of mine. I love writing, and I think it would be cool to have something about dunking and jumping out there.
Yeah, you don't find yourself jumping in cases that you shouldn't be jumping, like maybe a Chipotle line. You just start, like, is it in you? Because you've been jumping since what, 14? Was it when you started training vertical?
Yeah. You've done your research.
Oh yes, sir.
Yeah. 14 was when I started actually focusing on it. But ever since I was a little kid, I love jumping. Like it was something about it. And I started playing basketball when I was like 10. I think I was 10, in 4th grade. And from the moment I started playing, I was always drawn to dunking. And track and field, where I would always look at high jumpers, long jumpers. So I always loved jumping, but 14 is when I like really focused in on it.
So you have the highest vertical in the world. How many inches is something like that?
50.5. That's a max vertical. Every time I post a video, everybody's like, it's not off vert standing, but it's the official term is a max approach vertical jump.
Max approach vertical jump.
Yeah.
50.5 inches. I'm trying to think of anything. What's something that could be 50.5 inches? What is something like that? How tall is a human?
That's around like belly. I'm 6'2". That's around like belly button height. That's where my heels would be in the air.
Wow.
Yeah. Actually, maybe a little higher. Maybe like chest level around there.
I've noticed a lot of professional dunkers are within the realm of, and I could be wrong, like 5'10" to what, 6'3", 6'4". Is there a reason to that?
I think the taller guys are probably in the NBA. Like if you have the abilities to be a pro dunker and you're above 6'4", you're probably a really good basketball player. The guys under there, like most pro dunkers are athletes that were really successful in other sports. Mainly basketball's the big one, obviously. The second one would probably be track and field. There's a couple guys that have a football background. Like I think Chris Staples played football in college or something like that. But it's guys that are not quite tall enough to make it in professional basketball, but super athletic. And then it's also, in my opinion, the height that looks the best, where it's like a combination of height and vertical. When you start getting below like 5'11", even if you have an insane vertical, you can't hit those crazy dunks, like the impossible looking dunks. But that like 6'1", 6'2" range, in my opinion, is where like the best dunkers.
So medium kings are the best at dunking.
Exactly.
Medium kings.
Medium kings.
Yeah, I've been 6 foot most of my life, man. It's been nice.
Yeah,
it's a nice thing to have.
Yeah.
I've never dunked officially, and you tell me, I tipped in a free throw once and I touched rim while tipping it in. No?
Not a dunk. I'm the biggest like dunk Nazi there is. Because I coach a lot of guys and they always send me their dunks and ask me if it's a dunk. I'm super strict with it. To me, a dunk is when you're finishing the dunk, like when the ball's going through the hoop, the ball needs to be traveling downwards and your hand should always be below or above the ball. So there shouldn't be like a part of the ball that's above your hand. So that's kind of my...
So was Dwight Howard's dunk, his Superman dunk, was that a dunk? Because he kind of tomahawked it in.
I consider that. We in the dunk world, we call it a throw-in. It's a throw-in dunk.
Okay.
We specifically a thrunk. Yeah. But I consider it a dunk, yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, 50.5 inches, man. I can't even wrap my head around that length. That's ridiculous. You've talked about how the way they measure the vertical, what's it called? The max touch test.
Yeah.
You're saying that's not a real way to measure? So expand on that.
It is a real way to measure it. The thing is, it's very easy to cheat that test. I actually have a story about that. I got invited to OTE, Overtime Elite. It's a facility owned by Overtime. And they basically get, I think it's like high school age players up to like age 19 or 20 maybe, with the goal of getting them into the NBA. And they pay them, they have them play against each other. Really nice facility, NBA regulation, courts, hoops, super, super nice. And while we were there, they actually did some vertical testing. And I kid you not, we had a kid measure his reach in front of us. They had already measured their vertical, or what their max touch was. And then he's like, what does that put my vertical at? And the guy was like 36. He's like, oh, no, measure my reach again. Freaking shorten his reach.
Right.
And then they put that reach down. It's also a common issue in the NFL. In the NFL, when you look at the standing vertical jump test, freaking ridiculous numbers. But then you look at what their reaches are for their height, and then it starts to not make very much sense. So if you don't cheat your reach, I think it's actually the best way to measure vertical, because it's supernatural to go up and try to touch something. But when you're comparing athlete to athlete, it's really hard to standardize it, like super hard. So I'm not a super big fan of it, but I think there could be like a checklist that could be created. Like I think like one thing, your rib cage should be elevated, right? If you like breathe out, like right here, I'm holding my breath, but then look what happens to my reach. It shortens, right? So elevate the rib cage, drop the shoulder. Your shoulder should be like trying to touch your ear. And if you do like things like that, you could create kind of a checklist and then get really close to someone's reach.
Without the checklist, what's a secondary way to measure vertical?
So what I have proposed is using a height check. So you can't really cheat your height. Right? If your hair is like poofy or something like that, it might mess it up a little bit. But just measure how tall you are and then touch something with your head and
with
measure
the head.
difference. Yeah.
So you can't really throw your arms up, or you have to pull them back down, or how does
you pull them down. The issue with that is the number would be inflated a little bit. And the reason for that is because of the physics of the movement. So the way I describe it is in high jump, the reason they use the Fosbury flop is because when you flop, it changes your center of mass. So their center of mass in the high jump is actually under the bar. Like if you were to track it with like 3D motion capture and stuff like that, and you saw where the center of mass was, and the world record, when they did 8 feet and 3/4 of an inch, I think is the high jump world record. If you were to track it, the center of mass would be a few inches under the bar. But you can manipulate your body so that you can get over it, right? And it's the same thing with a height check. When you move your arms up, your center of mass shifts down. But then if both your hands come up here, your head is going to be a little bit higher. So
holy science.
Yeah. So height checks inflate your vertical by 1 to 3 inches.
You're the modern day Fosbury. It's like you're changing how we measure max vertical.
Yeah, I think it's important because especially in the Olympics, there is no actual vertical jump test. In high jump, it's how high of a bar you can clear, but that is more like if you're tall, you're going to be better at that event, right? In long jump, it shows how far you go, right? That's you start here, you end there. But in high jump, that's just a bar. Like you don't actually know how high the guys are getting.
You just have to get over the bar and
so
not touch it.
I think vertical jump testing should be included in the Olympics in some way. And the other thing about high jump is you're only allowed to high jump off 1 foot. So in my opinion, the highest jumpers in the world jump off 2 feet. And there's like millions of athletes that are insane that we're not even going to get to see, that might not ever compete in a professional sport because there's no way to measure that. Most of them are in the NFL or the NBA, but there's guys, pro dunkers especially, that have insane verticals off 2 that, in my opinion, could compete in the Olympics, and people would love to see that. But they don't have a way to do it. So,
do you know who has the highest vertical in the NBA? Off rip,
I want to say it's Ja Morant might have the highest tested vertical. Who's another guy? Derrick Jones Jr. I think is tested at 46. Jericho Sims might be up there. I want to say it's 48 though. Is the
I'm just wondering if they're breathing in or breathing out on that. You know?
Yeah, most likely.
Maybe Ja that day just really shrunk down.
I will say I'm pulling this number out of my ass, but like probably 90% of athletes, maybe even higher in professional sports, aren't reaching as hard as they can on that.
Yeah.
So
what has Mac McClung recorded? Have you heard?
Paul Fabritz actually posted. He's PJF Performance on Instagram. He actually just posted his vertical. He said it was 47.5. So just really freaking good for an NBA player.
Yeah. But it's not 50.5.
Yeah. The thing is with NBA players,
yeah,
I say this all the time. If you got the best NBA players, like the best dunkers of all time in the NBA, modern guys would probably be Ja, Zion, Anthony Edwards, those guys, Derrick Jones Jr., Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine. Let's say those 7 guys. If you got them all and just had them dunk, like have just one dunk session a week for a whole year, especially if you have them stop playing basketball and like just weight train and train for the vertical, they would be the best dunkers in the world. Because it's the combination of height and vertical. And then now Mac McClung has a 50-inch vertical. Ja Morant has a 50-inch vertical with their hand speed and all that. A lot of pro dunkers would be out of a job if that happened.
How good are you at basketball? Do you train basketball, or really whenever you're on the court, you're just dunking?
I literally just show up and dunk. Basketball, I probably play at the moment, maybe like once a month, once every 2 months. I actually play more when I'm in like really hard training cycles because my vertical drops so much that it's a struggle to go in there like mentally to get myself to like try as hard as I can. I'm usually super fatigued. And that's the best moment to just go in and play basketball and dunk.
So you dunk a lot. So it probably feels a little different. When you do an in-game dunk, even if it's pickup, does it feel a little different? Especially when there's a defender?
I love in-game dunks.
Yeah.
Like it's tough, but I might like in-game dunking more than trick dunks. The only thing it doesn't compare to would be like if I hit a dunk for the first time, like ever for me. That feeling is hard to beat, but in terms of like a dunk session versus in-game dunking, like catching a body, that nothing feels like that.
Oh, dude, I relate to you so much, man. Down in Tampa, there's a trampoline park, and I was yamming it, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Have you been to that one down in Tampa? The
I
Sky
haven't
Zone?
been to the one in Tampa. I actually haven't been to a trampoline
I owned
park
that
in
court.
a while.
I owned that court. I'm telling you, there was mostly middle schoolers, but they were tall. They were all pretty good height, and I was just running it.
I actually recommend, if you've never dunked a basketball ever, go to a trampoline park or find a hoop that you can put to like 7 feet and just go have a dunk session. Try to copy the stuff you see online, and you will know why pro dunkers are so addicted to this thing. Like, it is so fun.
It was probably the most fun I think I've ever had in my life. I can't even lie. And it was the type of surface that you could dribble. You could dribble on the surface. It wasn't like a real trampoline. It was just super springy padding.
Yeah.
A lot of people go their whole lives without dunking.
Yeah, it's probably
a lot of people. What population can dunk? Can everybody dunk? Like, what's the percentage on that?
I've tried to do the math on this before. Like I think I was like on ChatGPT or something, and I was like, all right, you can remove half of the population because half are females, and I think there's probably been 20 to 100 females ever that have dunked the basketball. So that's 50% right there. Then if you look up the average vertical for a male, is probably like 18 inches, I think is what the average vertical is. So then you get the average height. Average height is 5'9". That would put the average reach probably around 7'6". So you would need a 36-inch vertical to just barely scrape in a dunk. You need about a 10-6 touch to get a dunk. So just look at what percentage of the population has a 36-inch vertical and is 5'9" and above. It's a very small number. Like, it was like freaking 0.01% of the population is like able to dunk a basketball.
Yeah, I've met quite a few people, like more people than I can count on my hands. And I gotta say, there's probably a good, I would say 9 people I've met that can dunk.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
No, I played basketball growing up. Does it count if I don't talk to them on a personal level? I didn't really meet them, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, probably like a good 9 teammates that were dunking.
That's crazy.
We were pretty low in district. Like,
Yeah.
our district wasn't super impressive.
See, my perspective is completely skewed because like basically every friend I have, I've met through dunking.
Yeah.
And like, I always had this joke, like everybody that ends up being my roommate or something like that ends up getting pretty freaking athletic because it's all I talk about. It's all I do. I'm always talking about working out and stuff. So they eventually start like coming out and working out with me. But I can't even name how many people I know that can dunk. Like, it's so many.
It's more than 9 though.
Yeah, it's probably in the hundreds.
It's quite a few.
Yeah.
Hey, I have this, going back to the NBA slam dunk contest. Of course, we got the Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon in 2016, one of the best dunk contests ever. Were you there to witness it in person, that one, 2016?
No, so I had just gotten into pro dunking. Like, that was my first year where I ever even did a dunk contest, I think, or the second year. I remember I was in my parents' living room watching with my friends, one of the most hype moments ever. Like, I remember that so vividly.
Yeah, sorry, Aaron Gordon. Yeah, I think he...
it's a shame.
He got the love he deserved, though. Everybody talks about Aaron Gordon in 2016, even though he didn't win. But a lot of stars aren't doing it anymore. LeBron had his time in the NBA, one of the most elite players, and just decided to not do the slam dunk contest. That's his decision. Yep. But all these other stars like Ja Morant and all these guys, they're not doing it. I don't want to be, I'm not a hater. I'm not going to say it's dying off because Mac McClung just put on a great show these past 3 years. But I do have a suggestion. The judges being professional dunkers, or at least professional dunkers commentating on the slam dunk contest and bringing those who obsess and are almost autistic about this one part of the sport.
Yeah.
Bringing them in to be like, this is why this is a 50 or this is why this is the best dunk is because this portion of it is so difficult. What do you think about something like that?
I think that needs to happen. Bad judging is a huge pet peeve of mine. And most people don't understand what goes on in dunking. Like the amount of times, like for example, this last contest, mind you, Mac McClung had the crowd in the palm of his hands, right? And he did a great job of entertaining everybody. And the way dunking is set up right now is the best entertainer wins, like the one who has the most entertaining dunks. But if you were to talk to any professional dunker, they will be more impressed by what Stephon Castle did.
Wow.
Every single pro dunker. And I hesitate to say this because obviously Mac McClung was my favorite to win. He's the guy that I helped the most. And I was more invested into him. But from a dunk purist standpoint, Stephon Castle, specifically the second round dunks, were harder technically than the Mac McClung's dunks. Like a 360 behind the back, a 180 East Bay out of a shot. Like most dunkers would struggle with that, like pro dunkers. Versus if you asked pro dunkers to do Mac's dunks, like I would have no problem doing his dunks. I would need to be having a good jumping day to do Steph Castle's dunks.
Yeah, and
then to hit him like first try, it would be very difficult as well.
And Castle never missed his first attempt, did he? Or did he miss a first attempt?
The 180 East Bay out of the layup, I think that one was third try. And I think that's the main reason he lost. Like I think if he would have made that, we would have seen a dunk overtime. That would have been 50s.
Yeah.
And then we would have seen like them get into their dunk bags. But the second one was first try. So because of the misses, that's the main reason I think Mac McClung deserves to win.
Right.
But take the misses out, like Steph Castle's dunks were more technically difficult.
Okay. And you still believe that should be included in the scoring as first attempts or not?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's part of what being a good dunker is your consistency. But the thing is like most people don't know that, right? And that's why I think your idea would be a very good idea, even if it was just a commentator. Because even things like push-offs are a huge thing in dunk contests that most people don't understand. Anytime you see the ball here or here, there is a push. I don't care how it looks. I actually always say the less it looks like a push, the bigger the boost. Because the best push off, this is like, I'm giving you like the pro dunker secrets right here. The best push is when you jump first, you clear them so that their head is about like yay high. And then because obviously you have a lot of speed going up, as you're coming up, that's when you push. And it looks natural because it's just like a very natural motion. Like let's say you're doing a windmill over somebody, you're going like this, right? And it almost becomes part of the windmill motion. But this part right here, that's where you're getting that boost. So anytime you see the ball on the head, it's a push-off dunk, but people don't know that, right? And that's something that should be penalized in a dunk contest, in my opinion. Mind you, if there is no rule against it, hell yeah, abuse it. If I was in the NBA dunk contest, I would push my ass off because I'm trying to win. But in terms of like making it a sport, which I think dunking should be a legitimate sport, I don't think props should be used, or at least like limit it. Like maybe have a round where it's like, all right, you guys can use props now. But yeah, again, people don't know that that's a boost.
Are there accessories that you probably couldn't use in the dunk contest or at one of the shows? Like knee band, whatever they are, shoes?
No, there isn't really anything that.
Why is that? You think there could be something you put on your body that gets you?
The one thing would probably be
like a helium balloon or something. You'd like helium in your shoes. Who knows?
Nah. If there was, it would have happened by now because of basketball. Like the amount of thought that goes into shoes, like the technology going into it. The one thing is actually having like a carbon plate on the insole of the shoe. That's better for like the energy transfer. Like you don't leak as much energy when you jump, and that's actually a thing I think actually helps to use it in like track spikes and stuff like that. But most good basketball shoes like have already implemented that. But even then, there's so many other variables that like, did you get 8 hours of sleep or did you get 6 hours? You might get an inch vertical, which is more than the 10th of an inch of a vertical that you might get from.
Yeah, like did you take a good nap?
Yeah,
you know.
The one thing that does help time and time again is caffeine. Like if you take caffeine, and this is assuming you're not super desensitized to it, if you take caffeine, like you'll jump a couple inches higher just from that. That's probably
Specifically like Red Bull, you think?
Red Bull's one of my favorite energy drinks. No, it actually is. Like I love drinking Red Bulls right before, but yeah, caffeine's like the one thing that I would say is like an instant, like you're gonna jump higher.
Dietary, before you do like a big show, are you eating right? Are you planning like this is a track meet, you know, or a marathon?
So I have one of the worst diets when it comes to like, I would say I do 90% everything right, but diet is that last little thing where I know I should probably dial it in more. Like I tend to not worry about it too much. As long as I'm like in a calorie deficit or like a maintenance point where I'm not like gaining a ton of weight, I'm usually pretty good. I try to get enough protein, try to generally eat clean, but bro, I love candy. I love fast food. Like those are food is my weakness. So, and then there's like a big psychological component for me. Like I take pride in not having to be perfect with things right before. Like there's a lot of dunkers where like, you know, they can't be standing for a certain amount of time. They have to eat like X amount of hours before and X meal right before, and everything has to be dialed in. The warm up has to be freaking perfect. Part of being a successful pro dunker is being able to dunk in like any conditions. Like for example, the Google Pixel show that I just did was in like 45-degree weather on a bad court, super thin, right? And you're expected to go and warm up within 5 minutes and be able to be ready to go. Overseas contest, the average amount of sleep I get before an overseas contest is probably like 3 hours. I'm not even exaggerating, because jet lag, you flew in the night before, now you're having to dunk the next day. So I try not to be very regimented with that sort of thing, because the conditions are never perfect when I'm having to do a competition. So yeah, that's my excuse.
There's growth in that. There's growth in not having to have everything be perfect to perform.
Yeah,
I don't know.
for sure.
I think I do that.
In terms of,
I don't think of it that way,
yeah,
but I'm just like, oh, I messed up a lot, but I'm still going to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I do running. I do a lot of running. Funny enough, here you go. I started running a lot. My vertical went up crazy. Like I can jump up and grab rim 2 hands easy.
Wait, you said you never dunked?
No, I've never dunked.
Bro, we gotta get
I
you
can
dunking.
grab rim every time.
If you can grab rim, I can get you dunking in 6. Like if you actually like focused on it, like
well,
if you were like Isaiah, like I'm gonna dedicate like an hour a day to this.
Dude, it's just it's hard to go up with the ball. I haven't done it enough. I haven't attempted enough.
The trick is, so if you go up with the ball, it lowers your vertical by like 3-4 inches.
I'd probably say multiply that by 2 for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. When the ball gets in my hand, I can do a glass layup, but
yeah,
just there's nothing in my brain that goes from glass layup to twisting my wrist. And
how you need to do it is you need to have someone toss you the ball. Like that's the best way to get your first dunk.
Little alley-oop.
Because at that point, you don't have to practice the skill of lobbing. 'Cause that's a whole skill in of itself, is lobbing the ball to yourself. Dribbling, it cuts your vertical by a ton. So the best way is remove variables, have someone lob it up. Once you can get to like right there above the rim, you can dunk for sure.
Yeah,
but
it's nice when you say it. It's nice when you say it.
Yeah, but you were saying running.
Oh yeah, dude. I did this video a while back. I trained like an Olympian runner for 31 days straight to try and run a sub 5 minute mile.
Oh,
I
that's
did
tough.
that. Yeah, it was tough. It was fun.
Did you do it?
Oh, dude, I started at 6:55. By the end of the 31 days, the best mile I could get was 5:50.
That's pretty crazy.
It was 31 days, and keep in mind recovery and the mileage I was pitting on. I actually got extremely ill on the 3rd week, which was my peak week, and then a quick deload. I was jam packing a year of training into a month, and that's what made it exciting. We were super happy about I was super excited about the 5:50 mile. Sorry for spoiling it if you were going to go watch it.
I actually might go watch that video.
Yeah,
like I
sure.
love that type of
Thank you. Yeah.
stuff.
After that, I went hooping, and I was just jumping different. I cut like 5 pounds during the 31 days of training. I think 1 pound muscle mass, about 3.5 pounds fat. So there's a little bit of that, but no, it was just easy. My legs were just different from running.
Were you doing any weight training during that time or only ran?
Mostly running.
Gotcha.
I weight trained more so for mobility and health and precaution.
Okay. Yeah, there's as a general rule, if your fitness levels go up and let's say you hadn't been training specifically for vertical, like let's say you've done nothing at all. You're just like a fat slob on the couch, right? All day.
Been there.
And then you decide to start running, all your metrics are probably going to go up a little bit. Like you're going to be stronger. Even if you didn't squat at all, you're going to be stronger. Obviously, you're going to run a little bit faster. You're probably going to be jumping a little bit higher. What would probably happen over time, if you keep running, your vertical would probably get to a point where it leveled out. So just from your fitness levels going up, you increase your vert. Also, one of the best things to do is losing weight. Like if you're above 10% body fat, I would say like priority number 1 is just get to 10% or under. And that'll be the best thing you can do for your vertical. And then those are elastic contacts. Like running is inherently plyometric, like going from foot to foot, especially like mile running is not like that's still pretty intense, like a pretty intense pace of running.
There was a lot of sprints within my training. There was speed days where I would do meters, like 100 meters.
Those were probably the ones that
might have done it.
Yeah. Especially the first like 30, 40 meters in a sprint where it's like acceleration. That's super quad dominant. If you look at the angles that you hit in your legs, it's like same angle you are when you jump. So that's probably what did it right there, was the sprinting.
It's insane. What's it called? The pendant step?
Penultimate step.
Penultimate.
Yeah. It stands for second to last.
Dude, when I see somebody like jaw jump, his leg is like parallel with the ground, and it's like literally 5 inches above the ground. I'm like, wait,
literally.
what? And he's leaned back like he's sitting in a Chevy Cruze. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Yep. What is that? What is that step?
That what you just described is one of the reasons he is who he is. It's his body allows him to hit those positions. So one of the things that marks a good jumper, internal rotation. So can you like twist your feet in together like this? A lot of people don't have a lot of internal rotation. They're great at rotating externally, but not internally. Hip mobility, right? To be able to sit back and have that front leg forward, you're gonna feel huge stretch in your hip. And then strength. Like, think about you're running as fast as you can, and then you're throwing your body at the ground, and then like you said, you're hitting that ground basically parallel. Hella eccentric forces that you're undergoing. And the penultimate step is all about exaggerating that. Like you want to just maximize how much speed you're going, and then you're like a human bouncy ball. You just throw yourself at the ground. It is one of the most intense things in all of sports. Specifically if you're a good 2-foot jumper, the worse you are, the less intense it is. So because you don't have as many forces going, you're not as flexible. But yeah, you want to put yourself in like the worst position for your legs, essentially.
I can't remember why, but I was on a basketball hoop once, and I had to jump down from the basketball hoop. I honestly don't know why, but it hurt coming down. Are you jumping is there going to be a point where you jump too high where you can't come back down?
Generally, no. Like, because of all the training that you're doing, you essentially have to learn how to land to be able to jump. Like,
sure.
Like if you can't handle the landing forces, the forces you get from that initial contact like is way higher then
Have you ever just gotten a lucky, like everything in the physical world just worked on a certain jump and you got higher than even your max? Have you jumped higher than your max vertical?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh,
yep.
that was it. Everything worked.
So one of the ways I measure my vertical, and this is good for, I believe it's intra-rater reliability. So comparing yourself to yourself, because I generally land in the same positions. I take off in the same positions, is your flight time. So your flight time is directly correlated to how high you jump. We can thank Sir Isaac Newton for telling us that. So I measure my flight time. I've literally been measuring it since I was like 16. So when I was 16, I think I was at like, when I first dunked, 0.78, my first East Bay, 0.83, and those are seconds in the air. When I started getting really good, broke the 0.9s, that's usually around like a 40-ish inch vertical. My best flight time, so on my 50.5 inch vertical jump, the first time I did it, it was 0.972, I want to say.
And that's a lot?
That's really, it's higher than anybody else's flight time that I've seen. And it's the reason I'm so confident in saying I'm the highest jumper in the world, because it's doubly validated. So I validated it with my max touch test, and then I validated it with the flight time. So a lot of people, the first thing I do when someone claims a 50 is I look at their flight time. So generally I'm like, if you're not at least 0.96 and up, you're not in the 50 range. Technically, the 1 second flight time is what a 50-inch vertical is. But when you measure your standing reach, you're flat-footed, but you take off on your toes, right? So that's like, technically we should be measuring our reaches in our tippy toes.
Add it to the checklist.
Yeah,
right.
Literally.
The Rivera checklist.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen.
It's a really big checklist. But yeah, I did the second time I tested 50.5, which was actually the first time I measured everything on camera, like my reach. I measured how the vertex, because those are off sometimes. And the flight time there was I think 0.980. But Dunk Camp 2022, which is like my favorite event that I do every year. We got a bunch of dunkers together. We teach guys how to dunk, and then there's a huge dunk show at the end, and it has a massive crowd. I did a height check, which is like literally when you try to see how high you can get your head, like above the rim or close to the rim. And I did a height check. This is like a legit hoop. I looked clear inside the hoop. Like normally when I do height checks, like the rim kind of gets level with my eyes. Sometimes I've barely looked in. This one I was like, whoop, like was looking in there. Every angle of that jump that I have like 6 angles because there was people in the crowd. I'm like this, like on the hoop. And I measured the flight time on there, and it was almost 0.99. Like I think it was like 0.985, 986, something like that. And that was one of those jumps where it was like everything aligned. There was adrenaline, technique was perfect. I was in shape. Me and my my trainer, his name is John Evans. We call it the stars aligning. Like you got to train, put the hay in the barn, and then just hopefully the stars align. And adrenaline is one of those things where it's like the great equalizer. Like I've had sessions where I'm super fatigued, jumping crazy, and I jump higher than like when I was in even more shape purely because there was people in the gym and I had adrenaline. But yeah, that was one of those days where it was just the stars aligned, and that's to this day my highest jump ever. It's about to be 3 years in the summer, and I still haven't had a jump higher than that. Even though I've tested, my vertical on paper has gone up since that time. But yeah, I think if I have a jump like that now, could be 0.99, maybe a second in the air. Who knows?
What dunk can't you land?
Ooh. So I used to think this dunk was impossible. 360 double East Bay.
Double East Bay. What motion is that?
An East Bay is what we call it between the legs dunk. So you go from, if you're right-handed, left to right, under your leg.
Okay.
Going under the legs twice is like the holy grail of dunking. Like it's been in video games. Every pro dunker has tried it.
I've heard about the Holy Grail.
No one's even been close to it. Like not even close. There was one day, I don't know why. I texted my friend. My friend Austin, my trainer John, and I was like, I'm gonna try to do the double East Bay at Waterford. That's the LA Fitness in Orlando. It's one side's like 9.8 and a quarter. That's what I've measured the hoop at. I measure every hoop I dunk on. There's a long story behind that, but yeah, I measure every hoop I dunk on, and I'm like, I want to try it. I don't know. I'm just like, I'm feeling it today. And mind you, this is a dunk. I think the highest anybody's hit it on is like 9 feet. Last time I tried it on a low rim, I hit it on 8 foot 11 inches. That was it. And like I was jumping. This is the first time I had a 50-inch vertical. So yeah, like those things led for me to believe that it wasn't possible for anybody. I go in this day and I end up back rimming it. Like I got it through the legs twice, hit the back rim. I think 2 weeks later, went back, or I did like, maybe it was like a whole training cycle that I did. Went back and I became the first person to hit it on that height. And that was the day I was like, oh, this is going to go down. I think I'm going to hit this on 10 feet one day. So in terms of what I can't hit, that's a dunk I definitely can't hit at the moment, but I think I will hit. And I will probably retire the day I do it. I'm good. Like,
Would you?
I think I would, bro. Like at that point, even now, the stuff I've done, actually I hit one dunk at All-Star Weekend that we can get into where I'm like, I'm good. Like I can retire. Like there's nothing else.
Was it the Aaron Gordon dunk that you did?
It was the second dunk in that video. It's a 360 behind the back between the legs.
Jeez Louise.
So going back to the rim height thing, I hit that dunk at that same court, the hoop that's 9'8", in 2019. And I got called out. There was this guy that made like a whole exposed video on me, like Isaiah Rivera dunks on low rims, like all this stuff. I'm like,
oh wow.
And it was in super bad taste, like horrible video.
Can he dunk though? The guy that made it?
He could do it. He could do a little bit of dunking. Like I think he could windmill and stuff like that. But yeah, he made like this whole exposed video, and then I basically made a response video and was like, hey guys, like I haven't been listing my rim heights. I do dunk on low rim sometimes, blah, blah, blah. But mind you, I was a good dunker at the time. Like I didn't always dunk on low rims, but from that day on, rim height on every single post. Boom, 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 every single post. And this dunk is like one of those like holy grail type dunks. Like it should be impossible. And this last weekend, I got invited to go dunk on an NBA floor to be a stand-in. I essentially did the rehearsals for the dunk contest. Like they're like introducing Mac McClung, but it's like me like running out and then I go do the dunks.
Looks a little different here.
Yeah. So at that event, I actually hit that dunk on an NBA floor. And what's funny is I brought my measuring tape because I measure every hoop.
What was it?
It was actually 1/8 of an inch high.
Oh, wow.
And then I measured the other side and it was 1/4 of an inch high. But as I was measuring it, this guy comes up to me. He's laughing. As I'm measuring it, he's like 10 feet and 1/8, right? And I'm like, yeah, how did you know that? And he's just laughing. He's like, oh, it's because all the camera equipment isn't on the hoop yet. All the camera equipment, they're hundreds of pounds. And what they do is they set the hoop so it's a little bit high, and then the camera weighs it down and it levels it to exactly 10.
The NBA's got money.
This guy's job is literally to measure everything on the court. Measure the hoop, make sure it's level, the lines, all that stuff. And then he told me stories of like, there will be NBA players that will complain because like guys will hang on the rim over the course of the game. And sometimes the hoop gets lowered. And when somebody complains, they go out and like tighten a bolt and all that stuff. But yeah, it was 1/8 of an inch high, and I hit that dunk on that rim. It was a full circle moment.
One.
It was kind of like a F you to the dude. Yeah, but that was like, it was one of those moments where I was like, hey, at this point, like I could retire. Like if I knock on wood, if I were to like break a leg or something happens where I can't dunk anymore, like I'm like, I did everything I set out to do.
Dude, if I had a flower, I think I would definitely give it to you.
Thank you.
Dude, you're at like the peak of human performance.
It's weird to think about. I try not to think about that too much.
I think about it a lot. I would think that's insane.
Because the thing is, like,
and you eat Skittles, or what was it that you eat?
I ate Skittles before coming here, so that was one. Yeah, it's weird to think about because like I don't like to say. I mean, I say it in the videos as my hooks and stuff like that, but like I don't really sit down and like process it because it's weird.
Sure.
Because to me, you got to think of it from my perspective. I was just a kid who loved to play basketball. Wasn't genetically predisposed to be the world's best dunker. Like, you wouldn't have looked at me and been like, you're gonna be an athletic freak one day. Like, I was above average height, slightly above average vertical. And all I did was just like get a little bit better every day, right? Got obsessed with it. It was all I thought about. I would go to sleep thinking about it. I would wake up thinking about it. And I just tried to be better than I was the day before. That was it. I wasn't trying to chase like a record or try to beat somebody. It was just like be better than I was the day before. Be better than I was the day before. Next thing you look up, 45-inch vertical, cool. Be better than I was the day before. Be better than I was the day before. And next thing you know, I actually had a series on my YouTube. It was like Road to a 50-inch vertical. It got to the point where that was going on for so long that I stopped thinking it was possible for me. Like, I was like, I was maybe at a 47, I think is what I tested. And I tried so hard. It was like 2 years straight. My vertical actually went down after 2 years. It went down, right?
Perseverance.
On my Road to 50-inch vertical series. And I was like, oh, this might not be possible. But it's in my nature to keep going, right? Like, don't quit. Be better than I was the day before, right? And it was funny, like the year where I told myself this might not be possible, like a breakthrough happened. Like something in my training. It was just like I was plateaued and then just boom, training went crazy. And
the body takes a little time to adapt at times.
That's why I don't, when people complain to me, they're like, my vertical is stuck. And they're like, it's been stuck for 3 months. I'm like, try 2 years.
Yeah, you believed in the process.
Just don't stop. Whatever it is that you choose, like in this world, there's a lot of things you can decide to get good at. But once you pick that thing and you like it, right? Don't stop. Like the price you have to pay for starting over is huge, huge at whatever it is that you decide to do. And like for me, I chose this random thing, right? Like I'm dunking for a living, right? Like you don't make money doing that, but I just didn't stop, and it took me here. And yeah, most people just stop way before the finish line. I don't know if you've ever seen that meme of like, there's a guy, he's like digging for diamonds, and then he quits, and it was like
right there,
an inch away from the diamonds. Yeah. Like I love that picture, but
Mr. Coach John Evans, y'all started early on before all the stardom and the having the highest jump, whatever vertical on earth. How important was it for that friendship relationship to happen to get you to where you're at now? Would you be here if you didn't meet John?
No.
Definitely wow. Not.
Definitely.
That's beautiful.
Not. I think I would be jumping high, and like I think I could have figured some things out, but I definitely would not have a 50.5-inch vertical. I can like pretty confidently say that. John, so his name on my phone is still John Jump Einstein. The first phone call I ever had with him, that's what I put his contact as. It's still saved like that. And how I met him through my friend Austin Burke. He's one of my best friends. He's also a dunker, and he works for our business THP. And at the time we were like hanging out a lot. We would talk every day. And then he calls me one day. He's like, bro, you have to talk to this dude. Like he's the smartest person about jump training I've ever met. Just get on a phone call and you'll understand. And mind you, I'm a natural skeptic. Like I'm a man of science. Like I like to know the why behind things and the logic behind things. And I question everything. That's like, I got taught that in elementary school and it stuck with me. Question everything. So as a natural skeptic, I like giving people chances. I like hearing people out. And I was at a point where like, I thought I was pretty hot shit. Like I had a pretty high vertical, was hitting dunks and had improved a lot. And I got on this call. I think we were on the phone for like 2.5 hours, and he blew my mind. And it's like that, I don't know if it's Aristotle or Socrates, like wise man knows he knows nothing. Like that was the moment where I realized I don't know anything. Like he basically asked me questions about how I train. And then I was close to a lot of pro dunkers, so I knew how they train. He asked me questions about them. And then he was basically just like, wow, like you guys train like shit. Like you guys don't know how to train. And he came from a track and field background. Like he interned under some of the best track and field coaches in the planet. Interned at, I believe, he worked at Athletic Lab, interned at Altus. So they're like coaching Olympic level track and field athletes. And they had been studying it since he was a kid, just obsessed with it. And I was also dealing with crazy knee pain at the time, like insane knee pain, so bad that I almost quit dunking because like I couldn't do the thing I loved. Like I'm like over here trying to train, and it's just my knee can't let me do it. And he was researching how to get rid of tendon pain at the time, and it was kind of like the perfect storm of meeting him. I needed help. He just basically earned my trust through logic, explaining me the science behind of what he was saying. And I told him, I was like, all right, I have one more event. This was December 2017 when I had this call with him. I had one more event at the beginning of the year, and then I was like, I'm all yours. Like, I will literally do whatever you say. And the one thing he told me was, all I ask is that you do what I say. Like, don't jump unless I say jump. Don't train unless I say, don't go off and play basketball. Like, just listen to what I say. And this is one trait about me. I've always been coachable, right? I was the guy that 6-man off the bench, had good work ethic, played defense, listen to what the coach says, be on practice on time, get through all the workouts. That was always me. So I was like, we're good. Like I can do that. I can listen. And the first thing he told me was, you're not going to jump for a couple months. Mind you, I had jumped an average of probably like 3 to 5 times per week for years at this point. I had heard from one of the best dunkers ever, never go more than a week without jumping. So that was like a law that I basically lived by. And this guy comes up, and the first thing he's like, because we're trying to get rid of the knee pain, he's like, stop jumping. Like, it's going to be a couple months. That was the hardest thing I've ever done. But that led to, it actually ended up only being 6 weeks. And the rest was history. He got rid of my knee pain, and the vertical started climbing from there.
That sounds like a Karate Kid movie.
It was very Karate Kid-esque. Wax on, wax off.
I want to jump as high as possible. You will not jump for 6 months. It's
literally.
Like, God.
What's funny is like now we trained like thousands of athletes, and it's the same thing. It's like like they come to us with knee pain. It's like, stop doing what hurts. Like, stop jumping.
True. You can't keep hurting yourself, man.
Yep. And that's the biggest thing. Like, if I had one piece of advice for anybody with knee pain, stop doing what hurts, wait until the pain goes away, and then bleed it back in very slowly. Very, very slowly. Listen to your body. Your body is, you're getting pain signals for a reason. It's because it's telling you to stop. So listen to it.
It was Ja Morant that said he was done with dunking.
Yeah.
In game.
Yep.
As a professional dunker, what's your thoughts on players dunking less in games?
I don't like it. Also, he was capping. Because
I know, yeah.
I think like he had some of his best dunks. He
did 2 layups. He did 2 layups the next game, and we're like, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden he's right back at
Once a dunker, always a dunker. I'm going to reference something. Mac McClung, before the contest, dropped a video on his Instagram, and they were asking him, like, why is he doing the dunk contest? And it basically came down to, it's for the love of dunking. Like, he just loves dunking. And it makes sense. He's the one who's put on the best freaking show for 3 years in a row. You can see the difference, right? And like the preparation, how he sets everything up, the practice that goes into it. That's only possible if you love dunking. And that makes me so happy because, like, obviously I love dunking. And that's what saddens me about the NBA as well, is like guys are like trying not to dunk, and it's just, they just don't love dunking. And it makes me sad.
Yeah.
Like,
and it definitely has its place in the game. I mean, a dunk is a for sure bucket.
It's, in my opinion, the most exciting play in all of sports. Yeah. Like,
and basketball is a game of runs.
Yeah.
Like, and if you want to solidify a run, you throw it down. The energy is just insane.
It's a spark. Like, it can be the beginning of a run. It can be deflating for the other team. Like,
man, the Magic really need to move Mac back onto that main roster.
I do not understand how he's had a roster spot.
Dude, the highlights from the games he's played, he is intelligent with the ball. Yeah. He makes plays. Sure, his size might be a liability on defense at times, but that's the same way with any gifted guard.
But the thing is, I was watching his highlights like a couple hours ago, and like it like just came up on YouTube.
How often do you watch them?
I like watching.
Once a day?
Yeah.
Same. Okay, sorry.
But I was like, his video came up and he was playing good defense. He got like 2 blocks. He pinned somebody off the backboard. He got a couple steals. You got to think he's athletic as hell.
Yeah.
47-inch vertical. Like, he's not like 6'2", isn't that undersized for a point guard. I think it's like pretty average for a point guard. Like, I think he could hold his own in the NBA, and he's played well when they've put him in there. Like, I think the Magic, like their point guards haven't been playing very well. Like, it to me shows the politics of the NBA. I think it's like as simple as that.
Yeah, I really just don't get him being in the G League. I mean, are you able to explain it at all? Because I can't.
I literally can't.
I don't know a single person that could.
Yeah. I was talking to some guys, like when I was at All-Star Weekend, like people that are connected with the NBA, and even they can't explain
Also,
it.
I mean, just ticket sales alone of just moving the 3-peat dunk contest winner, underrated G League, throwing
And he
him
gets
to the
in-game
side.
dunks too. Like his in-game dunks are nasty.
He is nasty. Yeah, I'd hang out with him.
Yeah,
I'd grab a cup of coffee.
Mac is cool as hell. Like, he was so, like, when I went to that first dunk practice where he was jumping over my wife's car, he was so cool. Like, and it was funny because he kept being like, "Yo, I'm so scared," like all this stuff. And like, I've been around a lot of NBA players where it's like they act cool, but he was like, he came up to me initially and said, "What's up?" and like, "I like your videos." At the practice, same thing. And then what's funny is when I went to the airport on the flight back to Orlando, I'm like walking, and I'm naturally a very spacey person. Like, I'm just like in my own world. So I'm like walking on the way to security, and then I just get like a tap, and it's Mac, and he's like hoodie, like hat, like he has like the don't recognize me outfit. And then he's like, "Yo, what's up?" And he's in the line for security, and he's like, "Bro, thank you so much." He like dapped me up, and like you can just tell he's a humble guy, like super, super nice. Like,
yeah,
cool dude.
Were you expecting him to give you a shout out in an interview or anything?
No.
Did he?
I was not. So what's really funny is this wasn't the first time I've helped an NBA player. 2017, I got flown out to Indiana. This is the first time I was ever in a NBA arena. And I helped coach Glenn Robinson III, 2017. He was the dunk contest champion. And I taught him a couple of the dunks that were in there. The Tetris dunks, that's where like someone's like on the person's shoulder, jump over both of them and dunk. Taught him how to do that. Windmill over somebody. Both those dunks were dunks that I played a role in. And nobody knows. I never got like a shout out. I don't even like talk about it like publicly. Mind you, it's been almost 10 years now. But yeah, nobody knew anything about that. And I thought the Mac McClung was going to be a similar situation where it was going to be like, all right, like I'm behind the scenes, like cool. But yeah, he shouted me out, and I was like, yo, this guy's freaking awesome. That was so cool.
You wish her to Instagram. Thanks, Mac. Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. What's the equivalent of dunking?
In terms of what? Like,
I don't know, like maybe a glazed donut. You know what I mean? Like, there's some similarities in that. Maybe merging really well in bad traffic.
Quick scoping somebody in Call of Duty.
True.
Be similar.
Maybe a little.
Nah, in all honesty, I don't think there's anything like it. Like, there is no feeling like launching yourself into the air like that. Like, I've skydived before. Like,
did you go up in a plane, or did you kind of just get up there? You jumped up there.
Yeah, I jumped up. I had the parachute on. No, so I skydived before, and the butterflies, like right before going, like were really similar to what I feel right before a dunk contest. And then that kind of like that first, like when you first get off the plane is really like that rush, really similar to it. I used to think my like dopamine receptors were all like messed up because of dunking. Like, because I've dunked that feeling, not even just dunking, the feeling of dunking in front of a crowd is literally insane, to the point where like I go on roller coasters and I'm just like, oh, this is kind of like, it doesn't hit the same. Like Like it's literally crazy, bro. Like what the craziest one was probably 2019, my first overseas contest. I dunked over Blake Griffin to win the contest.
Oh, that's cool.
I was against the best dunkers at the time, like Guy Dupuis. He's like a freaking dunk legend. Nobody thought I was gonna win. It was kind of like my breakout year in dunking, and yeah, I jumped over Blake, bro. The adrenaline I felt doing that, like he's tall as hell, like the crowd was insane. Yeah, like nothing compares. Literally, nothing compares to that feeling. I would imagine like maybe like hitting like a game-winning shot in front of a crowd or something like that could be similar, but it's just the combination of like it feels like you're flying. Then the crowd goes crazy. It's violent. Like it's like when you dunk it hard, like it's just a weird combination of things that.
So completing the dunk is important and making it a difficult dunk. But is there like, are you focusing on a facial expression? Are you ever focusing on maybe like looseness or the way your legs are placed to like, have you ever done an insane dunk and just, you were kind of in a goofy sort of form and it just made it not so good?
I have the worst style. Like the worst style of dunking ever. Like I look like a freaking robot. Like my legs are super stiff. Like it's changed as I've jumped higher. Like I think just being able to jump high adds some natural style to your jumps. But my hands sometimes do weird things. Like I'm like this hand's like this as I'm dunking or like, but I don't really think about it. Like there's some guys. I have a friend. His name's CJ. His Instagram CJ_champion. Best dunk style in the game, in my opinion. Like when he dunks, like he's like kicking his feet, so it looks like he's like walking on the air, and then it's like electric. Like he literally describes it as if the rim electrocutes him, and because he's like trying to teach me how to get good style, and it's just like dunk and then basically like look away or like it's literally like getting electrocuted by the rim.
Does John ever think about putting you in like ballet or something like that?
Nah, see, me and John, we actually don't really care about dunking itself. We're purely concerned with jumping higher. Like I used to be on the other side of the spectrum where I love the art of dunking and I was always trying to hit new dunks. My focus has literally completely shifted towards jumping higher. Like that is the root, that is at the core of everything that we do. So for us, it's like, let's say I go to a dunk contest and I lose. We're not going to like be like, all right, let's work on getting more consistent, or like, let's train your upper body so that your hand speed is faster. Like it's very much so like, I'm just doing this because I love it. Like I love dunking, but my focus is get that vertical up.
You know how tall people are happier on average?
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's a thing?
Yeah. If it's not, it's true now. But the fact that you can jump so high, is your perspective different than mine when it comes to life? Because I can't, when I jump, I kind of like, I just do a normal jump. Probably only about 42 inches, right? Not like, 50 inches. But since you jump so high, does your perspective change on the world while you're up there? It has to open your mind some way.
I think there's definitely a confidence that comes with it for sure. Like I remember when I was 17, I hit my first East Bay. I was like, I would walk into places and be like, nobody in here can East Bay, or like nobody in here I'm probably the only person in here with a 40-inch vertical. Like, and then,
yes, sir.
And then all dunkers do this. All dunkers do this. You size people up. Like, you know how like fighters probably think like, could I beat that guy up?
Sure.
It's like just instinct. I'm just like, that guy he probably jumps 36. I could see it. Like his Achilles is that long. He's got some quad. Like probably got a 40 like around there. So there's definitely like a weird, because it doesn't freaking matter at the end of the day. Like it's all like egotistical essentially. But there is a side that's like, yeah, you feel good about yourself.
I get afraid of getting trapped places, and I'm sure you don't have that fear.
That's one of my worst fears.
Trap. You could just jump over it. You could jump over whatever's trying to trap you. Would you run? Because I would have to run from somebody. Would you run at them and then jump over them? Does that run through your mind?
Could. That has not run through my mind, but I'm sure if I was in like an adrenaline situation, I would definitely take off. I always think, I was talking to John about this the other day. I was like, if I were in a situation where there might be a fight, I'm running. Like nobody's catching me. Like
Yeah.
I feel like I could get some steps and then freaking like just jump up a roof or something. Like
Yeah.
I'd be good.
You never thought about jumping on somebody? Because people throw kicks, people do front kicks. You could probably jump from a extraordinary length that they're not expecting you to jump from,
And then, like,
just
dude,
land on them.
That would be
Honestly.
a viable strategy.
It would be viable.
High risk though, because if you miss, you're cooked.
Yeah, if you miss. I don't think you would miss though. You've
I
been
don't
doing it
think so
too
either.
long. You've been doing
Yeah.
it too long. How long can you jump?
Lengthwise, so I'm not a 1 footer. Like,
So not as long as you would like.
not very long. Off 2 feet, I've done a dunk where my back foot has been behind the free throw line though.
And you dunked?
Yep.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Which is pretty freaking far for 2 feet. Like 2 foot is way harder to get distance on.
Yeah, that was the most extraordinary thing on earth when MJ did it.
Yeah.
Like in the dunking world before was there professional dunking back then? When did this?
So professional dunking started in the like the late 90s, I believe. So there's a pro dunker, his name's Kadur Ziani. I've actually met him in person and he's still dunking. He's close to 50, I think. He might be like 48, 49. And he's still dunking. And he started this group called Slam Nation in France. And his inspiration was, the NBA dunkers, Michael Jordan, Dominique, guys like that. And he found a low rim, started trying to copy them. And this is the guy that was like 5'11", freaking like right here on the rim. And eventually got to the point where we got pretty good on 10 feet, found a group of guys that were also dunking around, formed a group called Slam Nation, and they started performing at like halftime shows and that sort of thing. And they got pretty freaking big. So that was kind of the beginning of pro dunking. Then that ended, I want to say 2003, 2004. Around 2007, I want to say Charles Milan, owner of Team Flight Brothers, he's the guy that flew me to All-Star Weekend, starts his group called Team Flight Brothers. And it's basically the second coming of Slam Nation. And it was like a perfect storm. YouTube started in 06, I think, or 07.
Yeah, 06.
And they started posting all their dunk sessions on YouTube, blew up. Then they started getting invited to halftime shows. And that was I think at the time, like 06, 07, they were the biggest basketball channel on YouTube. Like they were getting millions of views on everything. It was legends like T-Dub, Golden Child. Which, by the way, look them up on YouTube. Like if you want to get your mind blown. And that was like the start of pro dunking. Like if you were a pro dunker, you got on Team Flight Brothers. Then other channels popped up like Dunkademics, and they started highlighting just random guys that got really good. I think Team Flight Brothers, they died off for a little bit. They made a comeback recently, like a few years ago, but around 2012, they kind of dropped off. Dunkademics became big, and that's kind of like where I came in. I started like watching him and stuff. And then a dunker named Jordan Kilgannon, he has blue hair. You've probably seen him.
Yeah.
So it was in the middle of like dunkings in this kind of dead period, and he popped off just hitting dunks no one's ever even thought of.
There was one that was just freaky to me that I actually scared me. It was when he put both of his arms behind his back in the rim, and I was like, oh,
so
zombie.
I didn't know about pro dunking at all. I'm a sophomore or I'm a junior in high school. I'm in like my computer class. Finish my assignment. I go on YouTube. Video pops up. I don't remember what channel it was. And it's Jordan Kilgannon. And I'm like, what's this? And it says like best dunk ever or something like that. Jumps over somebody. Boom. Both elbows behind his head.
And he's just looking around.
So that dunk is called the Crown. This was 2014 when I saw that video. That changed my life.
That dunk
changed my life because I saw that. I'm used to seeing NBA players. If you look at that dunk, it looks different than anything ever. And mind you, this is 2014. Like at this point, we've kind of been desensitized. Like a lot of people know about pro dunkers and stuff. This is like some random white dude.
Right.
That doesn't look like he can jump high.
With the blue, what was it, blue hair?
Yeah. Well, at the time, he didn't even have the blue hair
No?
yet. Yeah. It was just like
He got that later.
Yeah. And it changed my life. Like from there, I went on his channel on YouTube. You can list videos oldest to newest. I was like, I saw he was posting dunk sessions. I was like, what the hell, this dude's insane. I go to his oldest videos. His oldest video is him like 15. So he was the same age, not able to dunk. And then I was like, hold up.
Wow.
What is this? Like, I thought guys were just freaks. Like, you're just like kind of just born with it. You know, at the time, Andrew Wiggins was freaking dunking on everybody in high school, getting his nose to the rim. And I was like, hold up, something's fishy here. Like, what? And I start seeing the videos, and it's just him like jumping a little higher, a little higher, a little higher, a little higher. And I just went through his whole channel that day. And like, it's just his whole progression. Then I read an article about how, like, interviewing him about how he got his bounce up. He said all he did was dunk every day. He would lower the hoop to 8 feet, dunk for hours. And in it, he's saying he's dunking 3-4 hours. There's a couple sessions he went 8 hours, brought his lunch to the park, and just would dunk. He ate there, kept dunking. And then whenever he wanted to see progress, he would just stop dunking, let his legs recover, and then he would come back jumping higher. And I was like, I understand it now.
I miss those days when, before social media and access to information is as clean as it is now.
Yeah.
It's like a dude used to get on the news and he'd be like, yeah, man, I just come down here with a sandwich 8 hours a day and do this one thing, and somehow I can do this. It's like now everybody's like, this is my program, and it's perfect, you know?
Yep. And obviously there's a lot of like flaws in that. Like, that's why my knees ended up getting cooked just because of doing that. But yeah, that changed everything. It changed in my head what was possible. Like, sometimes all it takes is just seeing somebody that's like you achieve great things. So I saw him. I was 16. He was 16. I was barely dunking. He was barely dunking. And that's all it took. I was like, oh, this is possible. I can get there one day. We have the same starting spot. I can get there one day. And then he gave me the formula on top of that. Dunk every day. Try, mind you, it's try as hard as you can as well. It's not just like jump at 10% effort. It's as hard as you can, dunk every day. And I started doing that. And then when I just combined that with weight training and started understanding the principles of weight training, like, it was a wrap.
Since you can jump so high, I'm sure, like, is your first step quickness or like change of direction just kind of insane?
Bro,
like, so if you try to run out of here right now, would I at least be able to grab your egg? Whoa. Did you actually leave right there?
Yeah, I went to my car, came back. It's perfect. So when it comes to anything athletic, force is force. Output is output. Like, when you jump, you're putting force vertically into the ground. Newton's third law, the ground's pushing you back up. Sprinting is literally vertical force flipped over, right? Your body's just at a different angle. Cutting, same thing. You're applying a lot of force very quickly at a different angle. That's why I love vertical jump training, especially for athletes. And even if you're an athlete, even if you don't want to jump higher, there's benefits that you can get from it. And for me, I can go out and play any sport. Mind you, I have a big background in sports. Like, I grew up playing everything, there's a lot of implications for that in terms of jumping higher later on. But I can go out and play flag football or go play baseball or go play a game of basketball, and I can keep up with elite guys. At OTE, mind you, remember, I played once every 2 months. At OTE, I just asked the guys at the time, Asar and Aman Thompson, the twins.
Brothers,
They were in there, and then there was this other player, Tyler Smith. Played them one-on-one, and I kept up with them, specifically defensively. Like,
of course,
I can keep up with those players because of all the strength training I've done. I can like hold my own in terms of getting physical contact and that type of thing. So I've gotten better as a basketball player as I've jumped higher just from the physical qualities that I have to train from jump training.
Have you ever dunked on anybody where you actually felt kind of bad? Where you're like, oh,
I feel bad every time.
Where they fall.
Bro, I'll go to UCF. There was this kid. He was a really good basketball player. Really nice kid. On a fast break. Mind you, this guy was athletic. Like, he could also dunk. He jumped up with me. We're going body contact, and I windmilled. And I didn't windmill to be disrespectful. I windmilled because his hand he jumps high. So I was like, oh, like this is the only other direction I can go, or I'm
Get
getting
some more
blocked.
duration
And
on his hand.
yeah, body contact, windmill, boom, right on his head. They were trying to kick him out. Like everybody was like, oh my God, he almost walked out. And I felt bad. And then I posted the dunk because look, if you're on the court with me, it's to the point where I thought about getting a shirt that's like careful. Yeah. Like this is basically your waiver. Like you will get put on a poster and it will get posted online. It got posted and they were cooking him and I felt so bad. But yeah. And I'm not the type to like dunk and be like, yeah, like, and like talk smack. To me, it's a part of basketball. Like I've actually gotten dunked on a lot. I jump with people. Like,
oh yeah, I'm sure.
I love jumping with people, and look at Wemby, right? He goes for a lot of blocks. He also gets dunked on a lot. So to me, it's part of basketball, but the internet doesn't treat it like that.
Yeah, I think if I like at my ripe age right now, if I got dunked on, I'd be like, of course there'd be some emotions, but I'd be like, that was insane.
Yeah.
But like younger me, before I kind of had something bigger than life, to focus on, it would probably hurt my pride and ego a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's better than me in every way and everody saw it.
There is a part of me that always feels bad. Like there's this meme where it's like a guy has like a happy face mask and then on the back he's like crying. That's kind of how it feels to get dunked.
Oh, dude, I've never been dunked on before, and I'm surprised because I do hoop and I do challenge. But I think if it was a player like you, I would secretly avoid playing help defense or something.
Yeah.
Or on a fast break, I'd purposely kind of try to guard the pass instead.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It is dangerous. Like most people that try to go for dunks that don't have the vertical to challenge get undercut a lot. It is very, very scary. Like there's been times where I've gotten like, someone like hits my leg as I'm in the air and you just flip. Like you have nowhere else to know. You're literally in the air. Like you could just push someone like that and they're going to tip over with all that speed that they have coming in. So it's definitely scary.
I think something specific your fans probably want to know about you is how do you get your steak cooked?
I got scarred the other day. I went to, was it Outback? It might have been Outback. I was in Vegas and I asked for a medium. And when I tell you, it looked like they just killed the freaking cow back there. Like it was, it scarred me. Next time I went to eat steak, I got it well done from there. Cause I was like, ugh. But if it's a nice like steakhouse, definitely going medium.
Yeah. Like Outback Steakhouse in Vegas. I wonder what happens in there other than steaks.
Yeah.
What do you think when you were there? What do you think was
terrible,
happening?
bro. It was terrible.
Stuff was happening. You think? Was it like an open kitchen format, or was it kind of like a closed kitchen?
No, it was closed kitchen.
Did you hear any music coming from under the door?
Nah.
No. Oh, then that's even weirder.
Yeah.
I wonder. That's the thing, man. Vegas.
Yeah.
I've never been. Should I go? Oh, I was there for what's it called? Not an overlap.
The thing in the plane, the connecting flight.
Overlay? Is
layover. There we go.
Overlay.
Yeah.
And people were smoking cigarettes in the airport and gambling in the airport.
the slot machines like in the freaking lobby or whatever.
I saw the most tan girls all with blonde hair and they were lip filler. And I'm like, this is Vegas, baby.
Vegas is freaking crazy. That's all I'll say. It's
interesting.
It depends on, are you a wild person? Like,
I like wild things, but I have a very solid moral compass.
Okay.
I'll watch it. I like to be like,
okay. Then I would go.
I would gamble. Maybe I would hate to say it, but I've done this in Miami once. Maybe I would smoke a cigarette.
Yeah.
I've only smoked a cigarette. I've smoked a cigarette 3 times.
I would say if you have like a wild side, but you're responsible, Vegas is a good spot.
It's a good spot.
But if you're the type of person, like if you drink and then like everything, all self-control goes out the window, don't go. Because people...
I think I got to explain myself on this whole cigarette topic. One was in a hot tub in Miami.
Yeah.
With a group of friends.
Is it cigarette or cigar?
I smoke cigars all the time. I love cigars. Okay. It was a cigarette. It was a cigarette. I didn't smoke the whole thing in Miami, but then I went to Japan. And when I was in Japan, I had a buddy there who he doesn't smoke cigarettes, but he's like, when in Japan. And so we literally sat out and we talked about like, we sat out and talked about what? Cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
We were going to a wedding, so we were talking about the wedding, and we just, all of a sudden, a whole pack of cigarettes was gone. But crazy. I don't smoke.
I'm sketched by cigarettes. Mind you, I've smoked a cigar once at a wedding.
It's nice, ain't it?
I just felt cool.
Yeah.
Like I was like, yeah, like, it feels cool. But I have this weird thing and there's no logic behind this. Or I'm like, what if I smoke one and I just get addicted to it? Like
there's logic behind that.
Like
there's logic.
That's definitely the fear.
I wouldn't say cigar. Cigar you won't get addicted to.
Yeah.
Because you don't breathe it in. But cigarettes.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Cigars are all about flavor, and they do give you a slight nicotine buzz because it's in your gums.
Yeah.
But people don't get addicted to cigars, really.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Equivalent to dunking, smoking a cigar. It's damn near close. No? I think so. I wouldn't know.
Bro.
I know smoking a cigar is pretty dope.
It's funny you mentioned Japan, though, because I want to go there this year. Like, I want to take a vacation.
Oh, that's great.
All the places I've been to are because of dunking. Like,
yeah.
I'll go for a dunk event, and then I barely get to see the area. But I was talking with my wife, and I'm like, I want to like actually go somewhere for a vacation, and that's the spot I would go to for sure.
My wife's been begging me for a vacation, man, and I really need to. I need to take her on a little vacay soon. You know how it is.
You're due.
She's like, I can't wait to go somewhere.
Yeah.
My birthday.
Throwing hints everywhere. My wife, she sends me like, it'll be like Instagram ideas. It'll be like, oh, this spot looks so nice. Like, I'm like, yeah.
I'll just get a random reel of a couple having a super romantic like dinner in Jamaica or something. I'm like, oh, I'm getting the vibe.
Yeah.
I know why you sent this.
Yeah.
Oh, so beautiful. That looks fun.
Yeah. Just try to delay it a little.
Right. Oh man, what else, man? How long have you been married?
It has been, what is it, 4 years? It's about to be 4 years.
That's a good time.
Yeah,
that's a good 4 years in June.
Yeah,
I got married in June.
Oh shoot!
I'm not even at a year yet though.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, so this is the first year. How's it been?
I got this from Korea. In Korea, actually, I got this in Korea. Gotcha. Dude, it's been great.
I don't even have it. You just made me realize I don't even have it.
Yeah, I don't know if I like to wear it or not. I'm trying it out.
So I like the silicone ones.
Yeah.
Like those ones are super clutch. I have a metal one. I got tired of wearing it. But the thing is, I lose the like little rubber ones all the time.
Yeah.
So
this one's super sentimental. So I've been very keen on wearing it and not taking it off in certain places. Yeah, dude, marriage has been great, man. It's I had one token and I used it, and I chose the one I wanted, and it came out the bottom, and it's pretty damn good snack, bro. It's basically the Quest protein chips. My wife's, like healthy but tasty. She's both of those things, man. Probably nacho cheese flavor, spicy cheese. I'd say
spicy nacho.
She helps, man. Wives are pretty great.
Yeah,
I really enjoy her. She's great.
It's been I would say for me, marriage has been one of the most challenging but rewarding things. Everybody thinks it's sunshine and rainbows, but you have to learn basically how to literally live together and share everything. And that I would say it was like a learning curve at first, but it's gotten more and more rewarding.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you're with the right person. Like my wife's name is Christina, and she's like, I can't imagine a more supportive person. Like, and she's been there. Like, mind you, this last year has been my most successful year in terms of business, dunking, like material success, but it wasn't always like that. And she was with me like when I was at literally rock bottom, like zero. And I think that was huge in terms of like, I know I have the right person,
Wow. That's beautiful. Yeah. When my wife watches this, she's going to hear that I smoke some cigarettes. She's going to be like, I knew you smelled like cigarettes. You said you didn't smoke now. No, she's amazing, man. I chose a girl who was good. Yeah. I think a good woman and a good wife is someone who's just like, her heart's a little pure. She's just beautiful in that way.
Which is rare nowadays.
Yeah.
Like I've heard stories from my friends and stuff like that, and like even from the time that I was single, and like there's some horrible people out
Oh
there.
yeah, yeah, dude.
Like,
See it firsthand.
and I think with social media too, like it's degraded so much of what I think is like, so much of what I think is bad about society comes from social media, and it's terrible. I'm kind of scared for the future.
Oh, dude, doing social media is hard because you kind of have to consume it.
Yep.
And what's weird is almost every account is posting the worst thing to get the most views all the time.
Controversy.
Yeah.
Get people commenting.
Yeah.
And that's the form.
Even to the point where like the A-list tier media organizations like Sports Center and House of Highlights, and those are more basketball center, but just pages like that, or even posting Vogue, they post the most gruesome stuff all the time.
Yeah, like random videos that have nothing to do with like sports and stuff.
Right.
You know what changed my life this year is I hired somebody that does my content, and I trained him completely. He wasn't even like an editor or anything. He was doing something else for THP. And I gave him access to all my social media, and he literally just, his whole job is to take clips from what I like, like podcasts, or sometimes I'll make talking head content. He'll clip it and post it on there for me. And Instagram's not even on my phone. I don't have Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube on my phone.
Man, can I shake your hand? Can I shake your hand? Good for you, man.
Thank you.
I stepped away from the podcast for a little bit. This past year is the least amount of episodes I've ever posted in a year, but they've all been my favorite episodes.
Yeah.
Or the best episodes. I want to say favorite. I deleted social media from my phone because it's just, I don't think consuming social media isn't a good pastime.
Yeah.
And people say, well, you could curate it to like, but you really can't. You really can't.
Yeah. Like you're saying, so it suggests you.
Yeah. Like you can only follow
Yeah.
the accounts you want to see.
That doesn't work. Yeah.
Yeah. No, sir. No, sir.
It's crazy. Like now that I don't have it on my phone, there will be times like, for example, All-Star Weekend, I was doing a ton of dunks, like a lot of viral dunks. So I would go in there and like post it myself, or like I have to post that I'm like, hey, like I'm at here, blah, blah, blah. And I would get caught doom scrolling. Like, and now that I don't have it, I see the effects that it has on me. Because before, when I have it, it becomes part of your day, right? Like you're always on Instagram, you're going through stuff, or like scrolling through stuff. But now that I don't have it, I see like the negative mental effects it has on me, and like I feel freaking brain fog and like almost fatigued from it.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy. Like,
what's crazy, you before we recorded, you asked about the origin of the podcast, and the real origin of the podcast is I went 4 months when I was 19 years old, 4 months without any social media on my phone after having my youth be social media.
yeah.
In those 4 months, I just started consuming podcasts here and there, reading, talking to friends, and actually engaging in real life, talking to strangers. And I wanted to start a podcast. I was like, I can talk.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be anything anybody else wants. It could just be, and this podcast has let me meet people like the highest jumper in the world, Isaiah Rivera. That's sick, bro.
It's crazy.
I like that. Delete social media. You could interview Isaiah one day. That's pretty sick.
Yep.
Yeah. There's many benefits to it. I think I sleep more.
Sleep
more.
is huge because you're not on your phone.
Yeah.
Right before going to bed. Like,
Yeah. What else do I do more without when I don't have social media?
do you read? Like, do you read books and stuff like
I
that?
do read books, but if your secondary question is what's your top 10 books, I won't be able. Right now, I'm reading How to Win Friends and Influence People. I've been reading a lot of. For some reason, I hate to say it, and I don't know why, but I read a lot of self-help, self-care sort of books because I think that's the state of life I'm in. I'm curious.
So I had a phase of my life where I was reading a lot of self-help books, and it's kind of what jump-started my, like, I guess, success, if that makes sense. Because I went to UCF. My whole plan was like get a degree and blah, 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 blah. Senior year, I graduate, and I'm just like, I don't want to have like I don't want to be regular. Mind you, I was dunking at this time, so I was challenging contests and stuff, but it doesn't pay the bills. Like
Right.
at the time, it didn't pay the bills very well. And I read this book, Think and Grow Rich, and
I've heard many good things.
it changed everything. Like it changed my perspective on it. And it made me realize that like everything is just about action. Like it's just about taking steps towards stuff. So like in the case of making money, it was just like I think one of the goals in there was like write down how much money you want to make and then start taking like ideas essentially. And you write ideas every day and then you like backtrack it. So it's like, all right, what steps are going to get me closer to that? And just the act of doing something actionable, it just like kind of got the ball rolling. And then once things start happening, then the path becomes a little bit more clear, right? Like let's say you make $1 online, let's do more of what got you that dollar online, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely had a phase of reading self-help books where that changed everything. Right now, I'm actually more reading in fiction though. Stephen King. I'm addicted, man.
That's extremely. I like it a lot.
Yeah,
I like that a lot. That's good for you. Fictional books.
yeah.
Maybe not everybody is in love with the thought of the highest jumper in the world loving fiction books, but I like it a lot personally.
Yeah,
Straightforward to you.
No, I'm a nerd, dude. Like a lot of people when they actually get to know me, like that's who I am. Because most the stigma around dunking in the past was like it was kind of like and one, where you get like these hood dudes, these street dudes that are just really good at
the
basketball.
Shorts below the knees are always
yeah. And like, you know, like kind of like rap and hip hop culture and it was very much the truth. I was around like the early dunk game and it's like a lot of negativity and guys beefing with each other and that type of thing. But I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd who loves jumping.
Yeah.
I just happened to get really good at it.
The jiu-jitsu champion of the world, or like I can't remember his name. He's extremely nerdy and he eats like one meal a day and it's pasta. And he's like, I think of jiu-jitsu as a game of chess, and he's watches anime all day.
Yeah.
He's just a goat at nerds are good at stuff, dude. I think they are. I don't know if I think I'm a nerd. I think I can be a nerd. I watch anime. No?
I would say that makes you a nerd.
It does?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I think it's maybe actually more so a few years ago. I think now it's more mainstream, like to watch anime and stuff. I don't watch a lot of anime, but there's certain ones that I love. Like I would say Attack on Titan, Death Note.
Yeah.
Those are probably my two favorite ones. I haven't delved into a lot of stuff.
Sure.
I've watched Full Metal Alchemist, Hunter x Hunter are the other ones I've seen.
I watched Finland Saga and it kind of changed my life.
I've heard a lot about that.
Yeah.
John is trying to get me to watch that.
John's a good guy, man. John's a good guy.
Yeah.
I think John is Vinland Saga is a good show.
Yeah.
You got anything to promote right now?
Dude, do I have anything coming out soon? I don't have anything coming out, but I have my jump program.
Yeah.
Like
THP.
if you want to jump higher, go to THPstrength.com. Best jump training in the planet. And I truly believe that, by the way. I think a lot of people feel like they have to say.
Well, I've seen the testimonies that you've posted on the THP account.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I truly believe we have the best jump training. It's a combination of me and John. We recently hired a physical therapist on our team. We have two other coaches that started as athletes and just got obsessed with it. And yeah, we have some of the highest jumpers in the world, dude. Like this summer, we're actually going to have a group of guys coming in, but we train. So I have a 50.5. We have Tony Crosby, who has a 50-inch vertical. Donovan Hawkins, 48-inch vertical.
And these are students?
Yeah, these are all guys we coach. Dylan McCarthy, 49-inch vertical. Dominic Gonzalez, 47-inch vertical. I'm probably missing a few more too, but these are all, and I think these are all guys that are going to jump higher than me, by the way.
Is anybody doing that at that scale? Like that many students jumping that high?
Literally nobody.
What are you feeding these guys? Be honest.
THP.
That sounds
THP.
pretty bad. Yeah. That sounds very real.
No, it's
What is the abbreviation for for
THP?
No, not for THP, but for enhancement drugs. It's very close to that.
Like are you talking about
testosterone
TRT
replacement? Yeah, TRT.
Testosterone replacement therapy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, not TRT. THP is the
Which, by the way, that's a whole thing we didn't even delve into.
Is that going on in the professional dunk scene?
So people would be surprised to hear that, at least to my knowledge, it's not. I'm completely clean. It's actually my favorite compliment when guys think that I'm on stuff.
Yeah.
There was one guy, Donovan Hawkins, actually, the guy that we coach. I would have sworn this guy was on stuff. Like this, he's 6'4", 210 pounds, built like a linebacker, jumping 48 inches in the air.
Oh man,
he's who I actually think is the best dunker in the world right now.
I don't think I could square my shoulders with him.
Yeah,
him in the eyes,
completely clean. I spent like weeks of time with him and completely clean. I haven't heard of other pro dunkers.
How often did he use the bathroom? Because that's usually the place.
Very often, actually.
Yeah. It's like I drink a lot of water.
Yeah, it's something that I think because there hasn't been a lot of money involved in pro dunking, I think things would change if like it became a legitimate sport where guys are making a ton of money in it.
I don't know what my opinion is yet. If I have an issue with people using stuff like TRT in a manner that's healthy for them. Yeah. I'm more so worried for them. But for something like professional dunking shows, as long as it wasn't something that was... How much money can I ask that people win at these dunking shows?
So...
Yeah, I don't know.
If I were to guess, if you're a top 5 guy in the world, you can make 6 figures off of dunking.
Wow. So you probably don't think it's right for somebody to use...
Yeah, I do think it's definitely wrong. All right, so me personally, I don't care if somebody uses, because I like seeing what like the limits of human performance are. Like I just want to see what the hell is possible. The reason I don't is because the health risks scare the hell out of me. Yeah. Like I've been on Instagram, like when I've been on Instagram and videos have popped up of like the negative experiences guys have had on steroids and stuff like that. It scares me. I also want to have a big family. Like I don't want to mess with that. I don't want to shorten my lifespan, the psychological downsides of it. Like it's something, it just scares me. But if somebody is willing to risk all that, like I'm all for it. Like I just want to see what the hell he can do. As far as the ethics of it, curiosity about human performance aside, I do think it's unethical if there is money involved. Like in the pro dunking world, for example, if you do steroids, you have an edge over your competition. You're going to get more followers. You're going to probably get more invited to more events, make more money, higher appearance fees. There's a dunk contest for $50K, higher likelihood of winning it. There are ethics. It's unethical in my opinion in that regard. But
especially if you're lying about it too.
Exactly.
If you're open and honest about it, and then you go, hey, I'm not competing for the money. I don't know how you'd make a living. Social media and programs probably, right? Coaching.
Yep. That's how most guys do it. Like dunk contest winnings, very hard to make a living off of that. The average contest, I would say, pays probably $4 to $5K. But guys are invited to maybe, like they happen maybe a couple times a month. And they're usually overseas. So it's mostly like the European guys getting invited to those. Dunk shows, that's a little bit more common. Sponsored posts off of social media. And it's all correlated to how many followers you have, unfortunately, because there's a lot of talented guys, not that many followers. But if you have the most followers, you're going to make a pretty good living off of it.
I see a lot of kind of social media runners, or a lot of them call themselves hybrid athletes. They participate in like high rocks and marathons and 100 milers, all these different things. They post a lot of lifestyle vlogs. I've never really, from searching your archives, I never have seen you really post too many lifestyle vlogs or things like that.
I don't think I've I don't think I've ever done a vlog
Right.
like a day in the life type
How
of thing.
come? How come? You have what, 500,000 subs on YouTube, just about?
I think so. I might be at 350 or 400 last I looked.
Why don't you post vlogs? It's just too intrusive.
I like to separate my personal life from
Training and
from social media and training in general as much as possible. Like, I don't think there's a single picture of my daughter like anywhere. A lot of people don't know I have a 2-year-old daughter. A lot of people don't know I'm married either.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I just try to keep that apart as much as possible. I've also had like some scares last year. It's part of the reason I moved from Orlando is I had a car stolen from my driveway. And that scared the hell out of me. It might have not been related to me posting videos and stuff, but I was posting videos of me training in my garage, and like you could see like the street names and stuff like that. And
you don't think about those things
until
the first encounter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that type of stuff sketches me out, like safety. I used to not care about that as much when I wasn't married with a daughter, but now it's a little different. But yeah, I just try to keep everything business. Honestly, my life in general, like I treat it like a 9-to-5 job. Like I take my daughter to daycare, 9 a.m. My work starts. I podcast with John, write programs. I actually will write personally a lot, like about jump training. Then I'll go train, get back, answer athletes again. It's make content, 5 p.m., clock out, and then I like shut my brain off and spend time with family after that.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Dude, this was a great episode. You're the type of person where I like it. I like you. I like what you stand for, man.
Thank you.
I think you are achieving kind of the peak of human performance, like we said earlier, and that's rare to come by. You were just saying how your life's kind of routine and a 9-to-5, and I don't know what else you're doing, but you're doing some crazy stuff. 50.5 inches in the air, the dunks you're completing, and all the people who are watching you. You got a big fan base, and as a newly married man, it's always nice to meet another married man. I'm just starting. I think I'll catch up to you. Just give me about, I don't know. Is it possible for me to catch up? No, it's not. I can't really catch up, can I? I'll always be 4 years
unless I
behind
get
you.
divorced and then
Would you mind doing that just for 3.5 years?
just
for
get a divorce? You're like, hey,
yeah.
like we gotta get this divorce.
Right. We can still see each other. Just it's different on paper.
Yeah. No, it means a lot, man. It's always awesome. Like getting interviewed like this puts a lot of things in perspective, and this is really dope, man. Like you had some cool questions.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, this was Isaiah Rivera. Thank you for stopping by the Wet Slap. All my slappers, drop a comment. Let me know what you think of this episode. You know I love you guys. I always have. I would never lie to you. I never have. Isaiah, follow him on everything. Watch his stuff. Highest jumper in the world. He doesn't like to say it himself. I'll say it for him. Isaiah Rivera is the highest jumper in the world.
Thank you. Ooh, man.
That was a good episode, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was freaking awesome. How long did we go for?
1 hour.